Today we're going to take a look at UnitsPro and its mobile application UnitsPro Go as it applies to time entry in the various types. Before we jump into the application, let's chat for just a minute. There are various types of time entry. Time entry associated with units and lump sum work, time entry associated with time and equipment task-based work, and then your support personnel time entry for individuals such as your safety professionals, inspectors, material delivery, mechanics, etc. Independent of the type of time entry used, it flows to a review and approval module where this time is validated. It then proceeds to the UnitsPro payroll module where it's pulled together in one comprehensive data set. Once validated, that information can then flow to a third-party payroll system using their API or web service where available. So what do you get out of this? We're going to get our time sheets and associated reports, production, schedule, and cost reports, accrual and forecast reports, change order management, and invoice creation and tracking. So let's take a look at how the mobile app takes care of time entry associated with units and lump sum work. We've downloaded the UnitsPro demo app from the Play Store. We're going to log in as a foreman. When an individual logs in, it looks up their credentials and what they have access to. As a foreman, he only has access to his jobs and some reference data. Let's take a look at that reference data for a second. Specification documents show all the spec books for which his work is associated. You can go ahead and drill into that and actually get right on down to the specs that he might be looking for. Pretty handy little feature. At this point, he can go ahead and view this, print it, or email it to himself. Going back, we also have reference documents that are available. These are work group level documents, policies, forms, etc. Here we have a safety manual and an HR manual and a couple of checklist forms. Work group can load this up with whatever they need for their foreman to have immediate access to. If we're going in as a project manager, an inspector, general foreman, we would have different modules available to us. But as a foreman, let's go take a look at my jobs. So this foreman has two jobs that he's assigned to. First one is a T&E job, and the second one is a units-based job. And we're going to go focus on this units-based job. So when we click on that, it opens up our time-related entries. You can see that on 7/10 and 7/11, we've already administered time for those 2 days. And right now we're going to administer time for 7/12. We begin with this begin of day process. It opens up and it shows us the crew that was active yesterday. The task for the foreman is to ensure that this is the current crew. They can go ahead and add crew members, or they can modify these crew members and indicate that they're inactive and why they're inactive. Move to another job, and that's a permanent move. So that would mean that tomorrow this person would no longer show up in this crew. We're going to cancel that and keep this crew intact. Take a look at our equipment, and again we can modify our equipment and indicate that it's not active and why, and whether it's a permanent change or just temporary. And we can add rental equipment or our typical owned equipment. Once we're satisfied with our roster of members and equipment, we close the transaction, or we could go to the end of day process directly. But we're going to go ahead and close this. The intent is that the foreman will do this exercise in the mornings And that will make that information available for work groups that must send crew rosters daily into their owners. This is the reference data available for that report. After the work has been completed during the day, go into our end-of-day process, and we're going to report on the work that we've completed during the day. So here we can see that we previously worked on locations 1, 2, 3, and 4. We could go back into those and work on them, but we're going to go ahead and move ahead to location 5. Opens up all of our work at that location. This is an H-frame structure, so we have 2 75-foot poles. We're going to complete those. Those are standing tall. We framed it. We did none of the wire work, but we did do our grounding. We labeled it. We backfilled it with aggregate. And we did the woodpecker protection. Now, if for some reason we didn't do all of that, we can long hold, and that brings up a little window where we can say what we did do. We did 1 perhaps, and if we partially complete that, that indicates that we've done 1 for now, we still have another 1 to go, or we can fully complete it, which says that 2 was planned, but we only did 1. And therefore, this is going to initiate a negative change order in the system. We're going to go ahead and fully complete this, though. And at that point, we're 3.27% complete with this location. Wire is your dominant element here. And we're going to go ahead next. This brings us to a removal location. We want to go 1 more. And we've got another install location here. So we're going to go ahead and take our pole units. And our framing units. Come down and pick up our grounds. Our backfill. Oops, I got the wrong one. So we're going to uncomplete that. And let's get the right one this time. And we'll come down and get that woodpecker protection. So at that point, this is the bulk of the work that was done today. And we're going to go ahead and go into our time entry process. So our production is done. And as we're coming in here, we're taking all those units that were completed, their associated phase codes, and we're actually parsing time to those. So we're going to say that the crew in bulk worked a 10-hour day. We go next, it's going to ask us for comments. We can leave this blank if we desire. And at this point, we can go ahead and go next. And that will parse that time to each of the individuals that was on that crew in the morning. So as we go through here, we can modify their per diem or their hours. So let's assume this groundman only worked a partial day. Change his hours to, let's say, 6. Say OK. And OK. If someone really wasn't here, we could go ahead and accommodate them by changing them and making them inactive here. We can also add an individual that joined us during the day or perhaps we missed in the morning. Once we have our employees correct on an individual basis, we go next. We'll take a look at our equipment. Here again, we can change the hours for our equipment. We can inactivate our equipment. We can add a new owned piece of equipment or a new piece of rental equipment. Again, the objective is to get this right. What do we have on that crew? What should be cost to the job? And if this were a T&E job, what should we bill to the customer? Once we're satisfied with our labor and equipment, we go next. This gives us a summary. So I can see that the foreman has 10 hours for the day and $75 per diem. And here's his weekly totals. And the total hours over here. This is broken down by ST and OT, and this is just a straight look. Reports are available for the foreman. So if we want to look at that job day timesheet, that pulls in. And we can go ahead and blow that up a little bit. And you can see who got what equipment was there, the comments that were provided. Our weather tracking is turned off on this job, but if it was turned on, it would give a wealth of weather information about the job site. And these are the actual units that were completed during the day. We'll go ahead and email these or print these. And once we're satisfied with all this, we'll go ahead and close. And that's now submitted to the general foreman for his review and a project manager for his approval. Once reviewed and approved, this data will flow to the UnitsPro payroll module, where it's bundled together, consistent with the way the work group's payroll system requires the data. Once that bundling is complete and validated as accurate, push a button, send it off to the payroll system electronically, and process payroll in the payroll system. If you have any questions, please contact us. We'd love to give you a full demo. This is but a snippet of the availabilities and capabilities of UnitsPro Go.